wave these 20 drivers on. They're 4 wide and fancy for you, the fans. This is the Kool Kidz Ice and Water CorrPAK Merchandising Sprint Cars. White flag goes on the field. Next time by, we're going green flag racing. 20 laps the distance for the Kool Kidz Ice and Water CorrPAK Merchandising Sprint Cars. 2x2, 10 rows of beautifully prepared sprint cars ready to come to life. Chris Steele, Shane Ross on the front row. Kyle McKenzie's got the double green flags in hand. Ladies and gentlemen, you came looking for a show. Well, here you go. Let's end all the anticipation as we bring to you our feature presentation.
Ross and Steele going side by side down the back straightaway. Give the advantage to Shane Ross through turns 3 and 4. But here comes Jim Hoopin in the 14-8. He'll go to second as Ross leads the opening lap.
The Red Rocket has been on rails as of late. The old Jim Hoopin is there, and there he is running in second spot. He's got Shane Ross in front and Chris Steele right behind.
Chris Steele in the 3rd spot, but here comes the Ohsweken Flyer. Glenn Steyer's up to the 4th spot. Mitch Brown and Bryan Howland going at it for the 5th spot. They're side by side into turn number 1.
Shane Ross, your leader. Jim Hoopin in second. Chris Steele third. The Ohsweken Flyer, Glenn Steyer's right there in fourth. Flying Bryan Howland in fifth. He's dealing with Mitch Brown, who's down the inside looking for fifth.
You can tell Ross likes the bottom side of the speedways, on the bottom through the corners and on the straightaways in that 3R machine. Takes it back to the bottom at turn number 3. Now Hoopin goes right through the middle in that 14H machine. The Red Rocket on the move.
Shane Ross leads the way. Jim Hoopin right there running in that top groove. He's got Chris Steele right behind him. You've got to go back to the 5th spot right now where Bryan Howland's trying to use that inside line. He's got Mitch Brown with him right there as he will work by Glenn Steyer's at the line and grab 4th.
Steele trying to track down Jim Hoopin. Off the track is the 97 of Corey Turner, pulling that car to the bottom of this track in turn number 3. Meanwhile, Glenn Steyer's and Bryan Howland going at it for the 5th spot on the speedway.
So the caution will not come out for Corey Turner, who is off the track far enough. Shane Ross leads the way. Jim Hoopin in second. Chris Steele third. Side by side for 4th. As we got that battle going on between Steyer's and Bryan Howland. Troubles up in corner 2 for Stan Zenkin. So Stan Zenkin will loop the 27Z. The Sewell's Automotive ride around in corner number 2, bringing out the caution. Corey Turner in the 97 had problems, pulled off down to the inside of corner number 3, and he was deemed far enough off the track that they stayed green. So the field will be reset with 6 laps on the board, 14 to go. Here in this Kool Kidz Ice and Water CorrPAK Merchandising Sprint Car A Main. Still 2 features to come. Mini month in the month of August. Corey got his at Brighton Speedway with the SOS back on August the 8th last year, and then Jamie Turner picked it up on August the 27th right here at Ohsweken Speedway. So Ryan looking for that first win. Almost won with the ESS this year at Merrittville. We'll see Ryan Turner in victory lane before too long. Might not be tonight. He's got a lot of work to do. With 14 laps to go, Shane Ross will bring them past the cone and back to the green flag.
Good start for Ross. Goes back to the bottom side of the racetrack. Jim Hoopin up to the top. They work through turns 1 and 2, but a great restart for Shane Ross, opening up a good advantage over Jim Hoopin's 14H as they come to the line with 7 in the books.
Ross will lead lap number 7, 13 laps left to go, and he is down on that bottom groove. Jim Hoopinen trying to work the outside line, but right now Hoopinen realizes, I got to be down there too. Here comes flying Bryan Howland. He'll try the top.
Howland making the top work behind Hoopinen as 3 cars battle for the second spot now. Chris Steele had to get on the brakes there in turn number 2, lost some ground on Hoopinen. Now he's going to have to contend with Howland in turn 3.
Yeah, here comes Howland back around that outside line. You remember back to the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals, that's the line he used. The bottom in the middle, that was the 51's way to the victory in the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. He gets by Chris Steele, sets his sights on second place, Jim Hoopinen.
Still Shane Ross with the boat anchor out, has that car glued right down to the bottom side of the racetrack in that 3R machine as we've reached the halfway point. Shane Ross has led the opening 10 laps, has 10 to go in the 3R.
Shane Ross coming across the stripe this time by to put 11 on the board, 9 to go with Jim Hoopinen in tow in second. Bryan Howland right now third, fourth is Chris Steele, and the battle for fifth is a good one between Glenn Stiers and Mitch Brown. Glenn tries the outside line around Chris Steele, couldn't find the room there, but he stays ahead of Mitch Brown.
Now Howland to the outside of Hoopinen for the second spot in the number 51 machine. Howland has it at the line, coming after Shane Ross for the lead. They've reeled in the race leader Shane Ross, and Bryan Howland is up to second.
Howland likes to keep us on the edge of our seats. Here he is again, coming back through the field, working his way to the front. Coming down this time by, it's 14, make that 13 on the board. 7 to go for flying Bryan Howland and Shane Ross out in front. Howland has caught the leader.
Bryan Howland coming at Shane Ross in turn number 3. Ross on the bottom, Howland on the top side. Lap car of Lee Winger will play a factor here as Shane Ross has his line taken away. Ross slows the number 3R down in behind the lap car, and Howland's going to take the lead on the top side. Bryan Howland to the lead momentarily off of turn number 2, but Ross back by him on the backstretch.
Now he's got to deal with the lap car of Lee Winger, and that's going to play into the favor of flying Bryan Howland. Put him to the top of the scoreboard as Bryan Howland's back to the front, Shane Ross back to second, but Ross not losing touch with the leader.
Ross is still right there in that number 3R machine. Howland the race leader though with 4 laps to go now for flying Bryan Howland in the number 51.
Trouble up in corner number 1, car hard into the wall. This is the 80 car of Chris Steele. He did not go over but took a hard contact with the wall in corner 1 for Chris Steele. Also involved the 14H of Jim Hoopinen. Very hard hit with those hay bales up in corner number 1 for Chris Steele. Jim Hoopinen also comes to a stop. He's moving around in the car with the high side of corner number 2. We need all the fans to stay back. Please go back to your seats. Stay back away from the fence.
Well, Greg, I haven't got right in the mix, but the first thing I've seen when I roll up onto the scene is Chris Steele handing the helmet out of the cockpit, so that is a good sign that he is about his own wits and working his way out of the 80 car. Tom Hoopinen, now these guys were 3rd and 4th on the Speedway when this incident took place. Here comes Chris Steele out of the 80 car, his first race back in a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. How about a hand for Chris Steele in a straight-on run into the fence? He's A-OK. A little bit shooken up, but able to walk.
I don't think he was.
Was he here with the Patriots?
I don't believe he was here with the Patriots earlier this year. Nonetheless, trying to get back to victory lane after his win in the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals last September, picked up the $12,000 payday. Can Bryan Howland hold off Shane Ross and the point leader Mitch Brown now in 3rd?
Good restart for Mitch Brown in the number 10. Same for the Ohsweken flyer Glenn Stiers, and Ross coming up. Bryan Howland for the race lead into turn number 3. Side by side for the top spotters, Shane Ross and Bryan Howland.
Point leader Mitch Brown's right in the mix too. He thought about making it 3 wide down in corner 3 and backed out of it just a little bit. Bryan Howland your leader. Shane Ross not going away on the bottom.
Ross makes it stick through turns 1 and 2. Can he do the same through turns 3 and 4? With Howland up on the top side, he does so, and they will be a dead heat at the line. Give it to Howland by mere inches.
2 laps to go. Shane Ross gave away a little track position down in corner 2 that time. But can he dig it back? How big would it be to beat the defending Canadian Sprint Car Nationals winner? 1 lap to go.
White flag for Bryan Howland up on the top side of the racetrack. 3-car battle for the second spot. Mitch Brown turns it underneath Shane Ross. They go side by side for second in turn number 3 as Howland breaks it off of turn number 4 for the final time.
Checkers go in the air. The win will go to flying Bryan Howland. Shane Ross comes home in second. Glenn Stiers third. Mitch Brown fourth. And Dylan Westbrook will complete the top 5. We'll go on trackside and talk with the winner, flying Bryan Howland in Mobile 1 Victory Lane. Lone Wolf fireworks lighting up the sky. Highway 54 in Middleport. 2 features to go, folks. We still got the mini stock feature, and the winner of that race will draw the winning 50-50 ticket, and that'll be followed up by the crate sprint car division. Last time this driver was in Mobile 1 Victory Lane, he took home $12,000 in the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. He's climbing out of the car. Let's hear it for flying Bryan Howland. Bryan Howland tried to make it here last week. The weather got in the way, but he came back here tonight and picks up another winner's check. Not as big as your last winner's check, but Bryan, this place has been good to you. It's been bad to you as well. You love Ohsweken Speedway, I know that.
I do. I love coming up here. I wish it wasn't 4.5 hours away from home. I tell you that. We'd be up here all the time. You know, the track is just always so racy, just perfect conditions for whatever show he's putting on. And, you know, hats off to my crew. Guys, you know, we unloaded the car. It was fast, and that's always a good step in the right direction. Not a whole lot of changes for the heat, and really not a whole lot of changes for the A main. We were pretty good right off the trailer. So, again, hats off to the crew. And you know, I couldn't do it without all my sponsors. Filtrek Corporation, Lansky's Restaurant, Mike Emhoff Motorsports. The Roush engine was running great. Dan Demery Fruit Farms, just everybody that's Gary Culver, the Culver Group. Everybody that's on this car that makes it go around in the circles, I got to thank them.
There you have it, your winner tonight, flying Bryan Howland down here in Mobile 1 Victory Lane. We'll catch up with Shane Ross. Shane, you look disappointed, but man, that was a great race by you. I thought you were going to Victory Lane. You're going to lose to someone, not a bad guy to lose to.
Yeah, Bryan's pretty stiff competition. I think if that last caution might not have come out, we'd have had enough, but I screwed up in that last corner, and I thought I was going to get him, but it didn't turn out that way.
Who would you like to thank for second here tonight?
I got to thank my dad for keeping me coming out, Jericho Road Motorsports, Sherry Kay, and my crew that comes out and helps me. Be good to get out a little more.
There you have it. Shane Ross comes home in the second spot. The Ohsweken Flyer, Glenn Stiers, comes home in third. Glenn, that was a great battle between you and Mitch Brown. I don't know if anyone was watching it because they were watching the top two, but a good fight. And the old Glenn kind of poking his nose up there at the front tonight.
Well, you know what? My car's only revving 7,500, and normally it's 8,500. So that 1,000 RPM makes a big difference of winning and losing. And at least we're up there. Car's running good. Steve did an amazing job tonight. And thank you guys for all coming out. Again, we couldn't do it without you guys up there in the grandstands. Thanks again very much.
Awesome crowd tonight. How great would it be to see this crowd every Friday?
Oh, man. Just make sure you come back every week and bring all your friends.
There you have it. The Ohsweken Flyer, Glenn Stiers, comes home third tonight. That'll wrap it up from down here in Kool Kidz. CorrPAK, Sprint Car Victory Lane, Mobile 1 Victory Lane. 2 features to go. The winner of this one, Clayton's going to draw the 50-50 number. It's the HRW Automotive Mini Stock feature event.
Thank you, Greg. The feature is staged in turns 3 and 4 for the final 15-lap feature of the night for the HRW Automotive Mini Stocks. Here is how they will line up. On the pole to St. George, Ontario, board car number 42 is Joe DeBoer.